Hello? Hello? Is anybody there? You guys gotta help me. I've been locked in here for 5 days. Zombies have been banging at my door. I don't know what to do. I boarded up the house. You guys really gotta help. Call help. Do anything you need to. Just please get me out of here. Because zombies ate my neighbors. It's a Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis game developed by LucasArts and published by Konami on September 24th, 1993. The aim of the game is to, of course, save your neighbors from the zombies inhabiting the neighborhood. You play as Julie or Zeke, or as I like to call them, Babysitter Girl and 90s Boy McGee. Thankfully, you have plenty of weapons in order to stop the zombies, including water guns, which is a standard pistol, popsicles, which are grenades, and more typical items like bazookas and flamethrowers. You even get to turn into a giant invincible purple monster with a potion power-up. The game itself consists of an advertised 55 levels. However, some of those 55 levels are secret levels such as Curse of the Pharaohs and Cheerleaders vs. Monsters, or my favorite level of the game, the credits. And no, there's not a joke about the quality of the game. The final level is in the office of the developers of the game, LucasArts, and you get to talk to them while saving your neighbors for a final time. Either way, it's very fitting to look at a game like this in the modern era, especially when zombies are everywhere in our pop culture these days, like The Walking Dead, The Walking Dead, The Walking Dead, people who watch The Walking Dead. But I digress. Some positive things I can say about the game. The graphics of the game are very nice, and for the time at least, you can tell what everything is, and with the game being a top-down game, you can never get too close to anything to make the game look too pixelated. The controls for the game are also very solid. 2 face buttons for your weapons, and the other 2 face buttons for changing weapons. Plus, it's not too difficult to aim and shoot at your enemies. Another positive is the variety of enemies and locations. Yes, you heard right. Despite the game being called Zombies Ate My Neighbors and not Monsters Ate My Neighbors, zombies aren't the only enemy in the game, unless LucasArts thought that this, and this were all zombies. It's very clear that the developers were fans of old horror movies, and for people who play this game and who are also fans of that genre of film, you'll get a kick out of the little references here and there. You'll get to see plenty of enemies, including little tiny Chuckies, aliens, and even 50-foot babies. The fact that the game has co-op is also a big plus. Any game that you can play with a friend gets a few points. The tone of the game is also very welcome. It never takes itself seriously with its premise, and that's the way it should be. It even got a few small appreciated touches to its enemies. For example, if you hit a werewolf with silverware, it'll kill that wolf instantly. Anybody who likes werewolves and knows their basic weaknesses can appreciate the attention to detail. However, no game is perfect, and this game does have a few set of flaws. First of all, while the game does have a radar telling you where the neighbors are, it's really hard sometimes to tell where you're supposed to go. Especially since the radar only tells you where the neighbors are when you're close to them, meaning you could be running around like a chicken with its head cut off trying to find them. And with the amount of enemies on the screen, that can be frustrating. Another issue with the game is its hit detection. Not with the enemies, but with grabbing the neighbors. There are plenty of times where you'll try to grab your neighbors to save them and go right through the neighbor, possibly causing them to get killed in the process. Finally, the biggest issue with the game is the difficulty. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining about difficulty. I'm not one of those people who's all like,
"Oh, the game's too hard, I need games to be easy."
No, what I mean here is the game gets too hard too fast. Most SNES games, while difficult, would still ease you into the game, allowing you to understand everything before they start pulling the really difficult stuff out at you. But this game, you start fighting invincible enemies by level 4, where you're chased through a hedge maze by several Jason Voorheeses. Jason V-Horse-I? Either way, however you pronounce it. Now thankfully the game has level skipping, but this is also an issue. When you skip levels, you go to the later levels with only the very basic weapons, mainly your pistol, 1 health power-up, and a couple presents, because finding the other weapons is very difficult in later levels. But those are really the only negatives I could say about this game. If the game would have lowered its difficulty curve a bit, fixed its hit detection, and had a better radar system for finding your neighbors, then the game would have been a better experience for me. But for now, I gotta give the game a solid 7 out of 10. Check it out if you're up for a challenging yet fun Super Nintendo experience.